Hey everyone, this is Des from the Wellness Project. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, I have a question for you. Do you feel like you spend too much time on your smartphone? Because I do. I feel like I am in front of a screen all day. I'm on my work laptop all day from 7:30 in the morning until around 3 p.m. And then I come home from work and I get on my personal laptop to work on personal projects from around 4 o'clock until I go to bed at like 9 or 10. And Mark and I always watch shows together at night before bed. So I am just constantly in front of a screen. I actually had to buy blue light glasses because my eyes, I was just getting such bad headaches. My eyes were killing me. I had a bad headache behind my eyes, which I knew was from being on my smartphone and on my laptop all day. So, in between being on my work laptop and my personal laptop, I was also on my phone on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook and what have you, texting. I'm in front of a screen constantly, and I feel like you might be able to relate. That's why I'm so excited about today's guest, Johan, and he is the founder of Social Media Breakup. He founded this website in 2018 when he realized that Facebook was taking over his life. So, what I really like about Johan is that it's not about getting off of social media or getting off of your screens, but it's about using it intuitively and smartly and creating a healthier relationship with your screens, which I like because he's very realistic. He says, we live in a technological world, and as time goes on, it's just getting more and more and more technological. So we can't resist the screens. That's the thing, is that we can't resist it, but we have to create a healthier relationship with screens. So if you feel like you're in front of your screen all day from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed, then this is the episode for you. So excited for this one. Now let's talk to Johan.
Everyone, I'm so excited. I'm here with Johan Versteegh. Did I say that? Your name
That's
is so
it.
hard.
Perfect.
I
Perfect. You
tried. I didn't
stayed.
want to butcher it too much. So, he is a coach, a phone and social media addiction expert, and the founder of Social Media Breakup. Johan, I'm so excited for you to join me today.
Me too. Thank you so much. That's right for inviting me. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. There's so much I want to talk to you about. So, let's just to start, when did you realize that for yourself, technology was becoming an issue for you?
I think it was around 10 years ago. I used the very first mobile that uses Android 1, the first version of Android, which was back in 2009. And I started to use Facebook, the app. And then what happened was I met a girlfriend, like my a girl, and she became my girlfriend, a Brazilian girl. And we started to use Facebook a lot. Every day we were posting 5, 6 posts a day, poems, quotes, songs of Barry White, Celine Dion. I was Googling what can I post today. And it became pretty extreme, but it had to be done. She expected posts from me and I expected posts from her. But there was a moment that I just became a bit frustrated because I always tell myself I don't want to die stupid. And me producing on Facebook, it was not really producing. I told myself, well, you're doing something, you're accomplishing something, but I wasn't. I was just creating these posts. And then I told her, look, you know what? I want to do other things. I want to work on different projects. I want to learn, educate myself. And then what happened was eventually we started kind of fighting a bit because she told me, look, Johan, where's my post? Where's my post? How will the world know that we're still in love because you're not posting on my Facebook? People asking me questions. So how is your boyfriend? What is he doing? And then I kind of started to realize that, why is it so important? Why should we care? Why suddenly do we have to post on Facebook so much? So one time Desiree, we're walking on the beach and then she's just starting to draw this heart in the sand. And then she asked me, and with Johan loves Nanda, which is her name. And then she asked me, Johan, can you please kneel in front of the heart? And I did. And then she took a photo. And then a few hours later, I saw the photo online and she wrote, look what my boyfriend made me.
Oh
So
my gosh.
romantic. Yeah, like, oh, and you see people, oh, that's so fantastic, Johan, it's so romantic. And I thought to myself, when I saw, like, oh my God, so now we're actually going to start lying about things just to impress other people. And basically, I just became too frustrated because I was disconnecting myself more and more from Facebook because I told her, let's have these one-to-one conversations online. Like, let's not use Facebook. Why is it so important? So while I was more investing in myself, my projects, she was kind of like not supporting me because she wanted those posts. So we ended up, separating. And the funny thing is, then after a while, people ask me like, hey, how are you guys doing? And I say, well, oh, we broke up. Like, really? When? Like, 2 months ago. And then they say, well, why haven't you posted about it? Like, we want some closure as well. Like, you post about your relationship like every single day, multiple times, and then you don't say anything. And as you see, that's the funny part. We post a lot, and then people believe that we're happy, that, even in the background, behind the scenes, everything is good, but it's not. And it just made me realize that, we really post about our highlight reels. So I started to disconnect myself from Facebook. I haven't used Facebook for 3 years back then.
Wow.
And then I started to use it for business purposes. I created a fan page, which was very interesting because I was talking about my website, which was about the World Cup in Brazil, 2014, the FIFA World Cup. And then people started asking me, how do you do it? How do you become so disconnected to Facebook? Because we're all on social media now. It's getting worse and worse, people told me. How do you simply not care? And I said, well, I don't, because I have so much to focus on that it doesn't matter to me what people think. It doesn't matter to me what they think that I'm doing in my life. And then 2018, I started socialmediabreakup.com because I saw, wow, this problem is pretty much escalating, because it was already it's like we started to use Facebook 10 years ago. Then Twitter came, then Instagram came. But now I see back in 2018, I saw, wow, a lot of people, they talk about screen addiction, phone addiction, social media addiction. So that's why I started to work on social media breakup. And of course, now with the pandemic, a lot of people are talking about excessive screen time. But yeah, because of my personal experiences, I thought, you know what, if people ask me all these questions, let me just create this website and help people.
Wow, that's amazing. So that was in 2018 you created the website?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. That's so true too. Now with the pandemic, everybody's home. I notice I am on my phone a lot more. I actually had to buy the blue light blocking glasses because I was on my computer all day for work. And then afterwards, I was on my personal laptop all day, the rest of the day for like my personal projects, my blog and things like that. And I noticed it was physically hurting my head. I was getting headaches. My eyes were hurting. So I had to get those blue light glasses. It's kind of hard. It's a struggle now. Like you said, everybody's on social media. Everybody's business pages are on social media. If they have like online stores or if they have brick and mortar stores, everything's online. So how do you balance having a business, or even everybody's on school online now too, and actually in person, because I work in a school, I work in a middle school and high school, everything's still online when you're in person. How do you balance that?
First of all, I say, don't focus so much on how much, because initially we're all talking about how much are we using our screens, how much we use social media, how much we use our smartphones. But now it's not so much about how much, because we all know we use our screens a lot, and that is fine because we're all inside. We're watching Netflix or we're doing something that relates to a screen. So which is fine. Now we have to ask ourselves, how are we using our screens and why? So what are the reasons? What are we actually doing on our screen? So why do we go for our phone? Is it indeed because everyone else is on their phones in our household, so we go for our phone? Or is it because if I see a movie and then I see a character who is going for his phone, so let me go for my phone as well? Am I bored? Am I sad? What is it? Are all the notifications enabled? So you have to basically analyze the internal triggers and the external ones. So why do you go for your phone? And then what is it that you're doing? How do you spend time on your phone? Are you having a conversation? Do you send all your messages in WhatsApp, for example? Or are you just scrolling and checking news feeds and Twitter and Instagram? And how do you feel about it? Are you entering this compare and despair mode where you are basically scrolling and you're basically comparing your life to everyone else's lives, what they post on social media? And so do you feel worse and worse about it? So why are you on your screen? What are you doing it and how? So is it okay? Or are your children around? Is your spouse okay with that? Is your spouse next to you? Should you be watching a movie? Should you be actually listening? Or maybe you've created this family plan where you told yourself you're not allowed to use your phone from 8 p.m. till 10, but you're using your phone when it's 9 p.m. So how are you using your screens? Like, is it okay? Or are you only using the screen when no one is watching? Or when it's fine by you? Do you feel bad about it? Was it agreed? Or do you have a valid reason for that? So it's really now more about asking those questions, how and why, and not so much about how much, because I use my devices a lot. Sometimes I'm on WhatsApp speaking to someone for 3 hours. Is that bad? No. Is it a lot? Yes. But yeah, again, is that bad? No, it is fine. I forgive myself. I understand why I was so much on my screen. So you have to become just more aware of how and why.
So true. And I like that you brought up identifying why we are on our screen. So I want you to talk about dopamine for a bit, because I know a lot of people go on their social media to get that dopamine hit when they're sad or lonely or feeling frustrated or mad. But using screens over time, using social media, there's studies that show that it actually causes more depressive symptoms in the long run.
Exactly, yeah, because we're getting used to it. So all these receptors getting desensitized because every time we get that dopamine hit, because the notification comes in, and you know that feeling, right? The notification comes in and you have this anticipation of what could be. Who sends that? Like, who sent me a message? It's like something life-changing. Will it make my day? That then space, like what? Like you're gambling. Am I going to win or not? So that dopamine hit, that you love it, that feeling, and it makes you happy. Then you go for your phone. Unfortunately, what we do is, because we want to feel and keep feeling that feeling, we are basically engaging with our phone in such a way that we're going to expect notifications. So when our phone is silent for like half hour, sometimes we go for our phone because we just want to check, is like, phone, are you okay? You have been very silent for half hour. There's coming in, right? And you feel weird because we're programmed. We're programmed that we always have to focus on our phone somehow within 30 minutes, every 15 minutes, there's something coming up. And if there's nothing coming up, there's no dopamine hit. So then we're just going to be online active. We're going to be on Facebook, going to be on Instagram, we comment, we post. So we now expect notifications to come in because we want that dopamine hit. Only the problem is, yeah, every time it's instant gratification. Every time you have the dopamine hit, you become basically those receptors of the dopamine, they become desensitized. And then, yeah, well, it doesn't have that effect doesn't last. And every time, because of dopamine hit, you have this feeling of accomplishment. Okay, you like something, you've accomplished, task done. You've unlocked your phone, task done. You've posted something, task done. You've checked your email, task done. But you're not really accomplishing anything. So it's all about delaying the instant gratification. And that is very hard if our phone is constantly wanting our attention. So every time we can't really focus on something because our phone is saying, hey, okay, you know what? Come here, I have something for you. And we're running to our phone because of dopamine hit, because oftentimes we think this notification is going to make my day. Even I sometimes think, could it be that girl that I like? Is she finally thinking about me? Has she replied to my message, or has she liked my post? And then no, it's like so insignificant notification of, this app needs to update. Or back in the day, like something happened on social media. This person now is on Twitter, and like, oh no. But that's the reason why it's so addictive, because of the dopamine hit. Yeah, we love it. We're programmed. And then it feels weird if you just don't feel it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about the social media breakup. How do you help people be less dependent on their phones and have a better, healthier relationship with social media?
Yeah, so I have this 6 steps formula essentially. So step 1 is that self-awareness. When you want to improve your life, you want to improve anything, you want to implement change, you got to be self-aware. You have to first understand how much you use your screen. So use, for example, screen time, use digital well-being. Even Facebook and Instagram have features where you can check how long you're using those apps. So be aware of that, because oftentimes we think it's 2 hours, but it's 5 hours. And then many apps, and also apps like, so external apps, so not even screen time or digital well-being, but also apps like Freedom and Rescue Time and Forest. There's so many. They will help you to be aware of how much you use your screens. And then again, also be aware of the internal triggers and external triggers. How do you feel when you want to go for your phone? Why are you going for your phone? How are you feeling when you are using your phone? Because you think it's going to make you happy. You think you're going to enjoy it. So you will want to go for your phone, but are you actually enjoying the experience or not? Or is there like a difference between the two, between wanting to go for your phone and enjoying the whole process? So you really want to become aware of that. And also, how is it influencing your life? How does it have a detrimental effect on your life, your ambitions, your relationships, your career? And then how do you want to see your life, your ambitions, your self-actualization process, everything about your life? And how does the phone and social media fit in that picture of your life? So you want to become first very aware of how it is so detrimental in your life, and then how does your life look like, or what is the preferred version of your life, and how does technology fit in that life? Because oftentimes when we want to reduce our screen time, our phone use, social media use, we start, for example, telling ourselves, you know what, I'm going to implement this digital detox. But then 1 hour later, we think, you know what, I got to check this out. I got to check something on my phone. So let me just be on my phone again. Everyone is on their phones. Everyone is using screens. It's more about moderation. It's not about abstinence. Technology is here to stay. We have to just befriend technology. We have to create this healthy relationship with technology. It's not about abstinence at all. So it's like smoking. I always compare using our phones, technology, social media, to smoking in the 50s. we kind of understood that it was bad in the 50s, but everyone was smoking. So even if you wanted to quit smoking, there was a lot of people you knew who were smoking. So then you end up smoking as well. Probably, of course, it's possible to stop. But just because of your environment, they will trigger you constantly to just go for a smoke. So the same thing with technology. So you got to be very strong. You got to be very aware how it is impacting your life. If you're on social media all the time, you feel bad about it, and you see you're not being productive anymore, you're not really investing in your relationships, you just feel sad, you become grouchy all the time, then you really want to do something about it. So that's that first step. Become very clear about your phone use and your desired version of your life and how tech fits in it. And then the second one is insights. So it's all about becoming aware of the detrimental effects of excessive screen time, social media use, because that's like an extra layer of motivation. Because have you seen the Social Dilemma documentary?
I did. I watched it about a month ago. I want to rewatch it, actually.
It's good, right?
It was very good. It was very insightful and pretty scary. And then I know a lot of my friends watched it, and a ton of people I know deleted their social media after they watched it.
You see? Exactly. That's all. And that's insight. That's that awareness that you understand what's happening, and then you're shocked, and you want to stay far away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Insights. And like the documentary shows, you see this world of social media and you think it's a world that everyone sees, but it's not. It's a highly sophisticated world developed by the algorithms based on your behavior online, based on your clicks, your likes. And like the documentary shows you, they even know how long you're staring at a photo. So just because you're staring at like 1 minute at that photo, then they will feed you more of that information. So it's very dangerous. You think that your spouse knows you well, social media knows you even more, better than your spouse knows you. So that's very scary. So you think you act out of free will, but you don't. They know exactly what to show you. So you will stay 5 minutes longer on social media. And then again, something that makes you staying off social media just for 5 minutes longer. Then again for 5 minutes, and then for 5 minutes. And then you lost 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So you have to understand you're the product, as we all know. We are the product, and the advertisers, they are the customers. The whole purpose of those companies is how to monetize those people's eyeballs. How can we make everyone stay online as much as possible? So they're basically competing with our sleep, with our leisure time. They just want for us to be online as much as possible. And we don't really realize it. So we're just consuming all this content, engaging with all this content, allowing that content making us furious or whatever, aggressive, without even realizing that that's what they want. They want for us to stay online. So, and also we outsource our brain. There's this phenomenon called Google effect and digital dementia. And what it means is that we outsource our brain because we just go for our phone to find an answer or a solution to a problem or question. So we don't really take the time to remember or to calculate. So even if you ask someone what is 120 times 120, and there are people who will just go for their phone to calculate, to use the calculator app in order to find out the answer, because they don't want to really take the time to think about it. So what that means is that we don't really train our brain anymore. So it also becomes harder for us to focus just because we're going for our phone so much. So in other words, the insight, step 2, is all about becoming aware of the detrimental effects and what the effects are of social media and our brain and what it does to us. And also in terms of the effects on our body and mind, etc. So that step 2, is all about insights and becoming more aware of basically what the documentary is explaining. And step 3 is called digital citizenship. When we talk about phone addiction, social media addiction, sometimes people say, I want to disconnect myself completely from tech. But it is not so much about pushing the phone away, because people don't want to use dumb phones. People don't want to use flip phones. They complain about the iPhone, but they don't want to use a dumb phone. So then I tell them, embrace the phone. Get to know your phone, befriend your phone. So in other words, learn about the privacy settings, the security settings, know about the features, and the same applies to social media. If you use all those websites, know about the features that you can use. Do you know about the fact that you can create a private account? Do you know about all these family sharing features in TikTok? Do you know about all those options in Instagram, like your activity, or in Facebook, your time on Facebook? Do you know about all these options? So you want to become very aware of the features of social media and tech, and also about internet, netiquette, the way you behave online. You leave a digital footprint behind. So you have to be very careful the way you basically show yourself. You think there's a screen that is basically protecting you, but that doesn't happen. Everything you post online stays online. The internet remembers. So you got to be very mindful of the way you act on the internet, and also about the dangers. Do you know about cyberbullying? Do you know about fat shaming? There's just so many dangers out there online. So you really want to become aware of all those dangers.
Yeah, cyberbullying is a major issue. And I'm on TikTok and I really like TikTok. And I know a lot of my students are on TikTok and there's so much cyberbullying on there. You can post a video and people will just comment, "You're so ugly, you know, you should kill yourself." Like, what? It's so toxic.
It is. Yeah, exactly. And you need iron skin. That's what a lot of people say. And that's why it's important to ignore those comments. I know it's hard. You should stay far away from those comments. Basically, you have to tell yourself that you're never as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are.
Absolutely.
So, but it's inevitable. It is inevitable. It's a huge advantage that because of social media, we can expose ourselves. We can expose our purpose, our mission, what we stand for, our virtues, everything. But yes, it also means that because we're in that arena, as Brene Brown always says, we're in the arena, but everyone can basically say whatever they want to us. Yeah. It is painful. It can be painful. It can hurt, but we have to keep going. That's why we have to understand why we're doing it. It has to be fun. It has to have a specific purpose. So we just keep going because it's inevitable. It would be a huge shame just to stay small just because we do not want to read those comments. Also, actually tell people it's a good sign.
Yeah, that is so true. I noticed too that it's hard for adults, and then a lot of teens are on social media and their self-esteem and ego are just so fragile. I'm so happy that I didn't grow up with social media when I was a teenager.
Me too. Honestly, me too. Very happy. So that's something that they really have to learn. Self-esteem, self-love, confidence. They really need to. And that's actually what my last step is about self-development, because if not, as you saw in the documentary, the girl's looking in the mirror and she doesn't really recognize herself because she always applies effects and filters on those photos that she's making and that she's posting. And then she looks in the mirror and she looks very different. And why? Because she's competing with everyone else. Everyone is looking so perfect. And then she tries to make herself perfect. And then she's not when she looks in the mirror. And then she thinks, I'm just not enough. Especially parents, they have to be very careful with the way they speak to their children, because the external words for a child, it becomes internal words. So parents have to be very careful the way they speak to their children.
I think it was in The Social Dilemma, there was a plastic surgeon that said, they coined a term, I can't remember, but it was like Snapchat surgery or something, where people are going and requesting plastic surgeries to look more like the Snapchat filters.
Yeah, Snapchat dysmorphia. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, it's insane. Exactly. That's exactly why, indeed, they just don't feel enough. So they really want to do something about it. So it becomes more popular, surgery. But that's the thing. A long time ago, when we were at school, right, Desiree, we compared ourselves to our peers. And they were not very different from us. Maybe there was one or two who were like much richer than we were or poorer than we were. But in general, they were kind of the same. We're on the same level. We saw always like 10 or 20 people, and that's it.
Right.
To them. But now, because of social media, we expose ourselves to a lot of people. We see now more models, more celebrities looking perfect than our peers. And what happens is our brain is going to compare us to them and is thinking, hey, something is up. You're not as good as they are. You're not even good looking as they are. You're not even as rich as they are. You're not even successful as they are. So now we think that's the new norm because we expose ourselves to those people. People we used to see sometimes in magazines when we were young or on television in movies. But now we see them constantly. So it has a huge effect on us.
Yes, so true. I mean, you open social media, any social media, it could be Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, it doesn't matter. Everybody looks amazing. And it's like, how is that possible? But it's not real. It's not reality.
It's not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We think they're happy. They think, wow, they must be happy if they post so much. Just because they're smiling and they're in Santorini and they're in Bora Bora. Wow, and they show a Ferrari, they must be super happy. But that's not the case. But that's what we believe. That's what we easily believe. And then what we do is, we try to post about a life that we like to live instead of investing our time in actually living that life. Then we're going to take on activities just for the sake of posting about those activities. Not because we want to, but because we hope that people will admire us or respect us more.
Yes, so true. It's very performative.
Yeah, exactly.
I think just now we're kind of realizing, it's kind of new that we're realizing that you can be addicted to the internet. I think it's kind of a new idea that's becoming a little more mainstream, but it's not usually recognized as much as like substance addiction is. Like, why do you think that is?
Yes, because with substance, it's more about abstinence, especially drugs, smoking is just about abstinence. But with social media, there are a lot of advantages. That's why when someone eats junk food a lot, or someone is smoking a lot, or someone is using heroin, you can clearly tell the person, hey, or like heroin, you're using heroin, stop doing that. Or someone's eating junk food every day, you can tell the person, hey, what are you doing? Why are you eating Burger King every day? But when someone's on their devices, on the laptops, on their smartphones, and you say, hey, why are you on your smartphone? There can be many valid reasons why it is or why it can be okay to be on your phone. I'll say to you, hey, Desiree, why are you on your phone? Well, I have to check this email. I have to write this email. Well, or it's someone's birthday. I have to send this message. Or I'm checking this. I'm checking the weather. I'm checking the news. I'm checking the flights. So there are many reasons. So we can easily convince ourselves that it is fine to be on our phone. Like, yeah, it's 5 more minutes. It is fine. But with substance, it's clearly just bad. Like, no, it's bad for your health. There are no advantages at all. But with social media, even social media, there are advantages. So that's why even with social media, I understand that people do not want to delete those apps. It's fine. Because yes, you want to stay in contact with specific people, you enjoy yourself in those groups, it's all fine. But you see, there are advantages and they're clearly visible. That's why they're so popular. So that's why it's hard to compare behavioral addiction like social media, internet use to smoking addiction, drug addiction, or food addiction.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So there's actually more internet addiction treatment facilities starting to pop up. There's some in Washington, California, Florida, Pennsylvania, other countries. Do you think those are going to become more common?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. In Asia, there are a lot of them, especially the places for people who are addicted to games.
Oh, yes.
And that's also kind of connected as well to the internet addiction. So yeah, it's going to be more common. Yes, for sure. I think smartphones exist since 2007. So that means that someone who was born with smartphones in the world are now 13 years old, the oldest. So we haven't seen anything yet, because what about VR, virtual reality? It hasn't, when that's mainstream, the world will look very different. Augmented reality, AR glasses that will hit the market probably next year.
Oh, wow.
AI becomes smarter and smarter and smarter. AI is already smart because they know exactly what to show you so you will stay longer on social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a rabbit hole that they can identify based on your behavior, that they will basically compare you to other people who show similar behavior. But AI is going to become even smarter. What about wearable tech? So we're going to have tech on our clothes. What about Internet of Things? So do you know the movie Ready Player One?
Oh, yes, I saw that.
So who knows how, when that's going to happen, that's because of VR, we prefer to live in the online world than the offline world.
Mm-hmm.
Because this huge or unique job that we have to take care of an online version and an offline version. So now we have to spend time and an effort in terms of, okay, how will that online version of us will look like, and how will that offline version look like? But maybe there will come a moment in the future where people will say, you know what? Forget about the offline world. I'm enjoying myself in the online world because I can, wherever I want, I can be wherever I want. So that's why we think it might be very bad and terrible and crazy, but I think we haven't seen anything yet. So I think that's why, yeah, those centers will definitely become more popular.
That's the crazy thing, is that technology is so advanced, but it's so young. You're right. We haven't seen anything yet. It's going to, in just a few years, how much it advances. I can't even imagine in 10 years what our world is going to look like.
Exactly. Indeed. So you see, now we have the time to disconnect. Now we have the time to befriend our devices, the websites, to understand them, to understand what's happening, the algorithms, because later on, it's going to be much harder to make that choice of disconnecting. I told you that in 1 week I will disconnect from the internet just for 2 weeks, but who knows if that's going to be possible in the future, because it's just going to be hard, because it's going to be everywhere. The internet is going to be everywhere. It's like WALL-E. Sometimes I think about this. WALL-E, that scene where all these people are, obese people are in these automatic vehicles. They're just drinking Coke and eating. They're all obese, right? And they're looking at their screens. Mm-hmm. Moving it all. There are a lot of dystopian visions, right, when it comes to tech. That's why we really should learn how to disconnect now. And it's getting worse and worse. It is exploding for sure. And I see people become more aware and more interested in the whole topic of screen time, excessive screen time, what apps exist out there, what devices exist out there, which are good for, how to regulate your screen time, how to limit your screen time, and for children, for example. So you see that people, parents, students, entrepreneurs, they all become more interested in this whole topic.
Oh, definitely. Especially now with online school. And I know, I work in a school, so a lot of teachers just feel like we're on our computers and internet all day. So we do want to disconnect and, live out in the real world. But also, obviously, with COVID, a lot of people are staying home more often. So it's a little tougher to disconnect right now. But so what tips or habits do you have for people to build a healthier relationship with their technology or disconnect a little bit?
Yeah, so that's actually the next step. So after step 3 about digital citizenship, about befriending the websites that you're using, your device, to understand how the internet works, being aware of cyberbullying, fat shaming. After digital citizenship is step 4, screen habits, boundaries. Sometimes people ask me, I want to do a digital detox. How should I do it? I'm very angry. I'm pissed off. I'm spending all my time. I want to do a digital detox. You really want to start small, because if you're going to do a digital detox, you're probably going to fail. It's like someone who never goes to the gym and then says, I want to go to the gym 4 times a week. Are you going to the gym? Probably not. It's all about starting small. So I always say, first, have a no tech hour, just a no tech hour. And then from a no tech hour, for example, from 9 to 10 p.m., can you do it? Can you leave your phone? Is that easy? Perfect. Now you go from no tech hour, you go to no tech Tuesday evening, for example. So now from 7 p.m. till 11 p.m., no phones, or basically till you go to bed, no phones at all. If you can do that, then, for example, you just say no tech Wednesdays or no tech Tuesdays or no tech Saturdays. So for one day, you're not going to use your device, or at least not social media. You want to start small. You want to also implement this idea of the no phone zone. When no phone zone, then specific areas in your house becomes a no phone zone when you, for example, eat, or when you watch a movie, or when you go to bed. And then you want to have a phone lounge, because a lot of times people will discuss, okay, it's 7 p.m., we should not be with our phones. Where are we going to leave our phones? And then you see people, well, I will just, keep it next to me or in sight. And that's not what you want. So you want to already know where to leave your devices when the no phone zone rule activates. Preferably in a different room, and you can even then at the same time charge your devices at the same time, but have it somewhere where it's out of sight when an area becomes no phone zone. So that's something you want to implement. And then you also want to be very aware of the features of your phone. So do you know about dark mode? Do you know about airplane mode? Do you know about do not disturb? Do you know about bedtime? Do you know about night shift? You want to use all these features. Like do not disturb is a very powerful feature, and not just about disabling notifications. A lot of people say, okay, I'll just disable notifications and that's it. That's just one part. There are many other features that you can use. Do you want to use specific apps like screen time that will prevent you from using your phone? You want to use tech to be tech. So also plan those features. So what I say is you want to set the alarm that will remind you to enable grayscale. For example, if you want to enable grayscale from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m., then set the alarm. If you want to enable do not disturb in the afternoon, set the alarm. So set the alarm so you will be reminded when to enable a feature. And also plan your social media time. So if you want to use social media, good, it's fine. You know what? Schedule 2 hours from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. And you know what? Just use social media. That's it. Don't do anything else. And then you see a lot of times that people, they use social media and then they tell themselves, I don't even know what to do now because after 1 hour, they're bored, or they don't really know what to do. And it becomes too obvious that they are using social media, aka wasting their time, because they want to do something else. And it feels a bit weird to be on social media for 2 hours. It's too in their face and they don't really feel happy about it. And they're just too aware of the fact that they're on social media. But I say plan your distraction. So plan those social media time in the morning, in the afternoon. That's another strategy. 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, and then 2 hours in the evening. Just use social media in those moments. Or, you know what? Disable the notifications, but set the alarm every hour so you are allowed to check your phone to check if you have missed any notifications. Because sometimes when people disable notifications, they go for their phone a lot because they want to check what notifications have I missed. So
that's so true.
And it happened to me as well. So I say, you know what? Set the alarm. The alarm will remind you to check your phone. So it's okay. 30 minutes will feel like 2 hours probably because you want to go for your phone, but just wait for the alarm. You really want to start small and also counter triggers. Basically turn around your device in front of you. So this is a counter trigger because we're always triggered to go for our phone. But if you enable a counter trigger, like a wallpaper that will remind you to be very mindful of your phone use. So for example, when you turn your phone and you want to go for your phone, then you see it's turned around. And just because of the fact that it's turned around, you're going to think about, oh yeah, I have to be mindful when I go for my phone. So you just need to remind yourself to be careful with your phone use. So it's okay to go for your phone. It's fine. But now you were conscious of the fact that you are going for your phone. Or I said to someone, use a very ugly, eccentric phone case. It will remind you of the fact that you are going for your phone. And then just use that moment to decide, are you okay with that? You go for your phone. Are you fine? Is that okay? And if you say yes, okay, good, go for your phone. And if not, good for you. Then you're not going to do it. You just want to basically be aware when you go for your phone, because we're programmed to go for our phone, and then suddenly 2 hours passed and we tell ourselves, where did the time go? And that's something you want to prevent. So again, it's fine to be on your devices. It's fine to be on social media, but you want to be mindful of your use. And that's super, super important. That's why I never really say, okay, delete your social media apps. Use a dumb phone, use a flip phone, just go on a digital detox for 1 week and then you'll be fine, you'll be cured. Or no, start small, have that healthy relationship, befriend it, get to know it, and basically configure it in such a way that it's not going to distract you all the time. It's not going to demand your time all the time. So have those notifications disabled, know when to enable grayscale or dark mode, use do not disturb, use those counter triggers that will remind you that you're going for your phone. Know when you want to go for your phone, when you want to use social media, and then how you want to use social media. And then use tech to be tech, like those apps, like specific plugins that you can use. Or the YouTube, for example. YouTube has a plugin called DF2 Distraction Free Tube, which is this plugin and disables the recommended videos, for example, and it makes the homepage blank, because there's a lot of amazing content on YouTube, but YouTube knows what you want to watch next, and next, and next, and this song. And then you think, wow, yes, I want to listen to that song, or that video, I want to watch that video. But because of that plugin, you're not enticed anymore to go for the next video. Use tech to help you to become more mindful and aware. Another one is charge your device once. That's it. This is an interesting strategy for someone who uses their phone and the battery runs out at 4 p.m. Then, this becomes very interesting, because you have to now charge your phone once before you go to sleep. You wake up, your phone is charged. You have till you go to bed to use your device without charging it once. Same applies to laptops even. Apply the strategy when you use a laptop, because you can use your laptop for like 3 hours, 2, 3 hours, 4 hours. Try to see if you can do everything in that time frame. So you should not even allow yourself to be distracted, because there's a clock running. You have 4 hours now to finish everything you want to finish. So you see, Desiree, there are many strategies that one can implement.
Those are great strategies. Some of those I've thought of, like, turn off the notifications. I have that on my phone. My phone's always on silent. But a lot of those I didn't even think of. The charging, that's so interesting. I really like a lot of those tips. And my boyfriend, for him, his struggle is YouTube also. So I'm going to tell him about that plugin. That's really great.
Another very important one, Desiree, unfollow people on social media. And you know what? Worse, follow profiles you care nothing about. If you hate, let's say, ballet dancing, follow accounts that talk only about ballet dancing. If you dislike gardening, follow accounts that talk about gardening. Nuke your newsfeed. Just make it super uninteresting, that when you scroll, you just tell yourself, whoa, what am I watching? What am I looking at?
Yeah, that's funny. That's a great tip. Yeah, because if you follow everybody you're interested in, or if you like design or something, you're just going to stay on there nonstop. That's a good tip. That's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all about being mindful. And that's why then step 5, which is also another one, is embrace life. Again, it's not so much about pushing the phone away and social media away. It's about finding something that pulls you away from tech. Because if you're focusing on pushing tech, your phone, you're still looking at your phone, right? But you need something that pulls you away from your phone, so you can place your energy and focus on that different thing. You turn your back on your phone, on tech, and now you can focus properly on that activity. That's why step 5 is called embrace life. Find activities, make life fun, get curious, become excited, try new things, experiment. Like now with this lockdown, that's right. I always tell people now, because of the lockdown, activity number 1, play board games.
Yes.
I don't know if you play board games.
We don't play them a whole lot because there's just 2 of us. I feel like it's more fun with more people, but we do like puzzles and crafts and things like that.
That's good. Because Desiree, I thought 1 year ago, I thought Monopoly, Clue, and Yahtzee are the only ones that exist, but there's a whole community of gamers out there and board games that I didn't know exist. And a lot of them are perfect for 2 players as well, and also for families. And I've played many games now this year, and it's so fantastic because you don't even remember Facebook or the whole concept of Facebook or how to spell Instagram. You don't even think about all of that because you're so immersed in the story, or you're the antagonist, or you're the protagonist, or you're working together, you're collaborating, fighting this enemy. It's so amazing. Or you're in Egypt, or you're on a spaceship, or you're in this beautiful world of critters. There's just so many theme board games. I tell families, please get yourself a board game. If you want to, as a family, focus on one activity, let it be board games. Because there are no screens involved. That's also of course, one of the main reasons why.
That's awesome. And one thing I think that's great about this lockdown is people are kind of experimenting with new hobbies. And I know a lot of people have been knitting and sewing and gardening. So that's kind of a cool aspect of the lockdown.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Exactly. You see, that's curiosity. People try to find different activities instead of just escaping the problem or watching the news and just be very simplistic in terms of their actions and activities that involve a screen, or watching every single series out there on Netflix.
Yes.
So got to be curious. And of course, this outside of lockdown, you also want to be curious and embrace life and get excited. Have something that pulls you away from your phone. That's why another solution that a lot of people share when you ask them, how do you reduce screen time, is do something else. Find something else to do. Because if you don't, you're just pushing your phone away, then it's still easy for your phone to tell you, hey, you know what, you're bored, I see. You have nothing else to do. So just go for me. Just take me in, check me out, use me, the phone will say. But if there's something else to do, it's going to be much harder for your phone to tell you, hey, please come here, I have something for you. Because your focus is on something else. And that's vital. And especially when the lockdown is over, and you have the opportunity to be out and about, then you really want to start embracing the outdoors and people. Really take on activities together outside, traveling and dancing together and whatever. Taking courses offline, not online, but offline. Learn how to cook, how to dance. There's so many courses out there. So that's what that step is all about. Right?
Definitely. That's awesome. And one thing I know is that technology does affect people's relationships in a negative way. So I love that, like, board games or puzzles or whatever can really make your family bond again.
Exactly. And then the last step is step number 6, which is self-development, something that you talk about, embrace thyself. Because like you said, what we do is we outsource our happiness. We post online and then we hope for people to say something positive about us. So when that happens, we tell ourselves, yes, you see, that post was awesome. So if I post a photo on Facebook or Instagram with a new shirt, and then, for example, you say in a comment, hey, Johan, the shirt is amazing. I will tell myself, you see, Desiree said my shirt is amazing, so it's amazing. I am amazing. But if no one would say that, or someone would say, I don't really like that shirt, and I think, yeah, the shirt is not amazing. It's not really good. It doesn't fit me, or I'm not good enough for that shirt. So the problem is we outsource our happiness, and we have to learn how to become our biggest fan aside from our biggest critic, because we are our own biggest critic. That's easy. But to become our biggest fan, that's a challenge.
Oh, definitely.
The more you become confident, the more you start loving yourself, the more you feel the sense of purpose, the less you start caring about what other people think, and the less you will start comparing yourself to other people. You will definitely not wait to feel happy or to be happy just because someone posted something positive about you. The whole idea of embrace thyself is to start loving yourself, which makes it easier to disconnect. If you understand the fact that our mortality is just, we can die basically any day. Life is short. If we just become conscious of our mortality, then we understand that spending time on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter is not the way. When we're older, and we look back, I will never tell you, Desiree, like, you know what, Desiree, I have this feeling I have not spent enough time on Instagram when I was young.
Right.
I will never say that. Those fundamental moments, like those small moments, like having that talk, having that walk in that place, those small moments that involves connection and relationships, those moments are the ones you will remember. And those moments are the ones you want to cultivate. And with self-development, understanding where you find yourself in the world and the meaning of your own life, what it is that you want to do, how you want to serve, how you want to better yourself, that mission of always being and getting better and being better tomorrow than you are today, instead of being better than someone else online. If you focus more on yourself, then it just becomes easier to disconnect, because you will see life from a macro level. When you see that, then you think to yourself, wow, why would I care about what these people say about me? Why should I spend so many hours on Facebook? Why would I want to change my appearance so I will look like them? Who is them? Are they happy? Do they know what they want in life? Do I actually want the same thing that they have? And then you will start living and building that life you want to live instead of pretending online that you are living that life. So you see, there's a difference. When people start to believe in themselves, you will see that they will disconnect more in order to build that life that they would like to post about. But ironically, when you start to build that life and you are living your life, you understand that why posting about it in the first place?
It is. It's very ironic. It's so interesting. I mean, more and more research is coming out about the internet and our dependence on it and our relationship with it. So it's so fascinating. And like you said, we haven't even seen anything yet.
Exactly. That's why it's good that those documentaries like The Social Dilemma came out. And I know a lot more will come out for sure.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It's so interesting. And I love shows like, have you ever seen Black Mirror?
Yes.
I love shows like that kind of take these ideas of the internet and AI and stuff. And I don't know, it's so interesting to me.
Yes, me too. Me too. There's a good one about social media, actually. There are like 2 or 3 good ones.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I always recommend the one. I never remember her name, but the woman, the actress with the red hair, and you have to get a certain amount of likes as your social standing. It was so funny.
That was fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that was so good. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
That was great. I recommend everyone to watch that episode for sure. That's the best
definitely.
one.
Yeah, I'll link that episode on the show because I always tell people about that episode because it's such a great satire.
Yeah. So you see, and I think in 5 years, 7, 8 years, I think we are much more aware of detrimental effects because we don't know the long-term effects, right? We don't know. Because again, smartphones exist since 2007. And we don't really know how we are living our lives in 2070, in 2050, 2040. It's going to be very interesting, all these developments, because it's a novelty still. It's all very new to us. What we already know is that we're getting very good at being distracted because our brain it doesn't care what's good or bad for us. If the brain sees that you are distracting yourself all the time, the brain will just say, oh, you know what? Okay, let me just get good at that because apparently that's very important to you. That's a problem. So then we getting good at being distracted. Just like if you complain a lot, the brain is basically facilitating that process. The brain will tell you, okay, well, you like to complain, so let me help you out with that. Let me make it easier. So let me make you see things that you will complain about.
Yes, so true.
There's a huge effect. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Tell me about your course that you have. You offer a course on your website.
Yeah, so that's a course for iPhone users. So this relates to step 3, digital citizenship, about how to befriend your phone. So I basically explain all the features, how they work, and also about screen time for families, how to set up screen time for their children. And because I know that a lot of families and moms and dads, they don't really know how to set this up. And it's kind of complicated. So I made a lot of videos about that and basically how to transform your iPhone into a friend instead of an enemy. And so you don't need a dumb phone. You don't need a flip phone. It's okay to use a smartphone, but that course will help you how to use the iPhone in a mindful way. So basically, yeah, that's right. If someone is interested, then they can send me an email to johan@socialmediabreakup.com and I will send them a free link to access that course.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. That would be great.
I think what's important is that the listeners will learn about the detrimental effects, that they become more mindful, that it's okay to change their behavior. Just because the world is using their devices a lot doesn't mean that they should not change their behavior. If you feel that you have problems with excessive screen time, then understand that you should do something about it. Embrace tech, learn about all those settings of the devices and platforms that you use, also for your kids. And yes, embrace life and work on yourself. The more you work on yourself, the more you compare yourself to yourself, the less you will care about other people's opinions about you. At the end of the day, you will be blessed by how you see yourself, right? And not by other people's opinions about you.
I love that. I hope that for everybody.
100%.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was such a great interview. I learned so much talking to you, and I'm going to try to implement these tips that you gave into my own life, and I will let you know how that goes.
Fantastic. Let me know this, right? No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I super appreciate it.
I would first like to say that I am so sorry, Johan, for saying your name like 500 different ways in this podcast episode. While I was going back editing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I said your name the same way more than once. I don't know why. So sorry about that, Johan. His name is Johan from Social Media Breakup. I don't know what is wrong with me. I'm very bad with people's names. So sorry about that. So now that I have it now at the end of the episode, thank you for bearing with me. That was such a great interview. Thank you so much, Johan. I learned so much, so many awesome tips because it is a goal of mine to use my screens less. I want to be on them less. I want to have a healthier relationship with them, and I want to use them intuitively. I don't want to just scroll and scroll and scroll. I want to go on for a reason, for a purpose, fulfill that purpose, and then get off of them. So I actually made it a goal this year to not just endlessly scroll on Facebook because I usually do that. Now it's moved over more to TikTok. I don't really use Facebook anymore besides my Facebook group, but I'm on TikTok constantly. So I definitely have to try to decrease that. But as he said in the interview, I mean, they are programmed to get you to stay on them. I mean, they're very smart. As we talked about in the episode with the social dilemma pointing out, which you should definitely watch the social dilemma. It was so good. It's streaming on Netflix. It's very, very informative and pretty creepy, but they're designed to keep you on the app. So they'll keep showing you things that you want to see, and they're very good at it. I could easily lose 2 hours on TikTok on any given day. So I definitely have to work on that. So I loved the 6-step formula to have a healthier relationship with social media. And I did take part of Johan's class that he's talking about, that if you email him, and I'm going to put all of this in the show notes, if you email him, he will give you a link to take this course for free. I've only gotten through some of it so far because there's just so much information. It's amazing. I mean, it's packed full of information. So I highly recommend it. It's really amazing. He talks about how it affects you physically, emotionally. It's so informative, and there's a ton of great tips in there. So definitely, if you enjoyed this episode, email him and check it out because you will just learn so much more and get a more thorough, in-depth look at how you can decrease your screen time as well as create a healthier relationship. So awesome. So if you are looking to decrease your screen time, then I suggest you follow Social Media Breakup because there are tons of tips and he can help you get towards your goal. So thank you so much for listening. And again, I'm trying to decrease my time on social media, but I am always in my Facebook group. So definitely join me there. And I will put the link in the show notes. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks on Thursday, where you will really enjoy that episode because I interviewed Devin from Spiritually Balanced. We talk about everything energy healing, so you're really going to love that. Very, very cool. So, talk to you then.